you got to be much more careful about it.
Conditioning the minds of individuals through repeated disinformation was the intention behind CIA's Operation Mockingbird.
The suppression of information through the media had limited people from seeing that mind control exists so strongly in our world.
Exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
It stopped them from understanding that human trafficking was the funding mechanism of the New World Order. It stopped them from seeing the CIA cocaine operations that were being used. Those so-called drug wars is nothing more than the CIA taking over the industry worldwide. Gary Webb was trying to report on it, and he was killed. So many on the front lines were being killed.
Only a few major corporations control an estimated 90% of all the news stations, television, movies, music, video games, social media, and the internet.
Social media and other internet platforms make their money by keeping users engaged, and so they've hired the greatest engineering and tech minds to get users to stay longer inside of their apps and on their websites.
Mass media has conditioned individuals using methods such as neuro-linguistic programming, occult symbolism, and harmonics.
They were enhancing the harmonics in the music to actually affect the neuron pathways in the brain in directions that they wanted, and then using specific lyrics to drive in a message. We need to be so mindful of the lyrics that are being carried on those harmonics into our mind and become aware of how much that kind of thing does affect us.
All the good girls go to hell.
Harmonics were added to their music to make them even more popular. These little children who had been horribly abused were programmed and harmonically tuned, and then the messages were programmed in, which would deliberately affect the social engineering of a generation or however many people they could affect.
Through continued secret human experimentation, scientists learned that repeated traumas coerce the function of the amygdala and the hippocampus to repress the dissociated memory. In order to continue functioning, the memory of the traumatic experience is sectioned off and encased by amnesic walls, creating an altar hidden from the main identity in the subconscious. While the barrier is down, handlers and programmers installed everything from secret messages to deliver, instructions for illegal activities, or programs for sexual perversions. The various levels of programs were named after the different brainwaves to denote function. The amnesic barrier is then rebuilt to hide the identity of the abuser and memory of the programming, using trauma conducted through repetitive brutality, electric shock, and weaponized sound waves known as harmonics. Due to the electrical nature of the brain, high-voltage electric shock devices such as cattle prods are commonly used and are extremely effective in cementing dissociation after torture. By developing the experiments, it was discovered that the effects that harmonics have on the RNA covering of neuropathways is highly effective in creating undetected mind control. Through trial and error, at the expense of unknowing human subjects, success was finally achieved. The experiments proved that certain inaudible sound waves will electronically encode messages into victims.
Thank you!
Making direct physical abuse no longer necessary for mind control programming.
This is why I record infrasound.
Since the inception of these experiments, what was learned has been implemented through the use of sophisticated equipment. The advancements made have offered the ability to track states of consciousness and alter it electronically and remotely, allowing for silent mind control to take place on a mass scale and go completely undetected.
I know that there are harmonic tuning places involved in NASA and at DARPA. The different places that were involved in MK Ultra, one was Disney, and I was taken to Disney World in Florida. They have a very sophisticated setup in the underground or the underworld of Disney World, where